what's ahead? Can I know that you're leading me? With no time to reflect, can I trust that you're growing me? Call my name and I'll carry on, no longer afraid. Show me grace when I'm overcome by my lack of faith. So this is a commentary video for the song Will You Say It Again, which is the second song on the first album. It's actually gone by a lot of different names, which I'm going to talk about. First name it had was actually called The Path Ahead, which is kind of where it was written from, and so I'll talk about that in a minute. And then it was just known as the Bible character song for a while, because the verses are talking about how as Abraham followed, even though he didn't know where he was going, and as Peter walked onto the waves, even though he didn't know what was going to happen, so we follow. And then finally settled on Will You Say It Again. So to talk a little bit about this song, it was kind of born in a period where I didn't know if I wanted to stay in the small town of Greenville for long term, and was praying about potentially even teaching in rural Alaska, and was looking at a job fair up there, and long story short, there was a deadline that I needed to decide, what I was going to do, and I knew that I was prayerfully considering things, and that deadline grew closer, and I didn't feel like I had any clarity at all. And the deadline grew closer, and I still didn't feel like I had any clarity, and then the deadline came, and I still didn't feel like I had any clarity, and the deadline went. I still didn't feel like I had any clarity. And that was a really hard time for my faith, because I just kind of assumed that whatever I asked God to show me, that he would show it to me when I wanted him to, which is not true. God is the giver of all good gifts, and he does give his wisdom to us, and we can ask him for it. But when we demand it and say, well, you're going to give it to me by this time, he doesn't cooperate with that, because he's not us. So I grin about that now, but that was really hard. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? And this song was born out of that time. And it was really interesting, because some of those pleas of, I don't know what's ahead, but can I know that you're leading me? If you didn't answer this, with no time to reflect on what happened, just in the middle of a school year, can I trust that you're growing me in this? What do I even see here? But this desire to really hear his voice still came through. And I'm so thankful that the answer is yes, we can trust that he's growing us. And yes, we can trust that he's leading us. But the lines of the chorus that just always resonate with my spirit are call my name and I'll carry on, no longer afraid. Show me grace when I'm overcome by my lack of faith. Or when my faith, takes a different form than I think. So this song, I really wanted it to be on the first album, because it's one of those songs that I just resonated with, for so much of that period, and then the aftermath of that, and can I trust where God's leading, and just, it would become a mantra. I would just use that song to worship by myself in my back room all the time. But it was when I went to go record it, and I didn't know if I wanted to call it The Path Ahead, because that imagery kind of appears, but it never even talks about a path. I was like, maybe I want to call it something else. My background vocalist, Noel Harnisher, actually was like, why don't you call it Will You Say It Again? Because that's at the end of the bridge. And as I reflecting on that, it really is interesting that all the characters are following God. And I was trying to pinpoint all of these times where, God gave these people a call, and they went, and God, I'm asking for this call, and I don't feel like I got it. And the bridge of this song is just such a powerful image to me now, because this is the only time I've ever gotten near to a Sarah Groves experience. I'm doing all songwriter nerd, sorry, on this commentary this time, but Sarah Groves, once in a commentary about her song, The Word, said that she was sitting down at the piano, and the bridge, which is all these verses about who the Word is, and it's Jesus, and how, where he meets us, and neither life nor death, no present, no future, and she was just sitting at the piano crying, because all of these words were just coming out from the scriptures that she didn't even know. It was this outpouring of the Spirit. And I would say one of the only times I've experienced that as a songwriter, like she described, there was in the bridge of this song as well. Because I was sitting at my parents' old house that I grew up in the basement, and wrote the first lines, which is, I don't know what you said to them, but a donkey reached Bethlehem. And then the rest of it just came. And a people crossed the sea on dry land. I don't know how he managed it to outrun that chariot. That's the story of Elijah. But it takes more than the legs of a man, and to sit outside the temple gates and still possess a healing faith that rose as he started to dance, to walk into the blazing fire, not knowing you'd be by their side. I just want to know what you said to them. Will you say it again? So those are the lyrics to the song. And that was a super powerful moment to me, to be able to just, I just penned that in a matter of minutes, and it all came together and it just fit. And so I obviously knew that that's what the song needed to say, but it wasn't until later that I realized that my real heart issue with this was really wanting to hear from God, right? And be like, how do I act in obedience? I really want to hear from you. And to realize that the people at the end of this bridge didn't really hear from God this call beforehand necessarily, but they walked in obedience as they knew it, in obedience to the scriptures and doing what God says, to trust his word and to love him and love your neighbor. And for instance, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire, it's not like God was like, go to where there will be a fire and go in it, right? I mean, they were taken captive and they were in foreign lands, and they ended up in this circumstance where the punishment was death by a fiery furnace, and then God showed up in that with them. It's not like they heard the call of Jesus or the call of the Lord to go do something, and then they were sure of that. They were just walking by blind faith, and God showed up in that place. And so that's what this song is about. So a pleasure to share it with you. Right now I'm just gonna play the bridge to the end so you don't get the whole thing, but I had to talk about all my song nerdy stuff. So haven't posted a video in a while. Sorry, I've been finishing up school, all those things. But here is the bridge out. So I don't know what you said to them, but a donkey reached Bethlehem, and a people crossed the sea on dry land. I don't know how he managed it to outrun that chariot. Takes more than the legs of a man, and to sit outside the temple gates and still possess a healing faith that rose as he started to dance, and to walk into a blazing fire, not knowing you'd be by their side. I just want to know what you said to them. Will you say it again? What you said to them. Will you say it again? I don't know what's ahead. Can I know that you're trust that you're growing me? Call my name and I'll carry on, no longer afraid. Show me grace when I'm overcome by my lack of faith. Call my name and I'll carry on, no longer afraid. Show me grace when I'm overcome. Just call my name. So what a pleasure to write that song, and just have it minister to my soul again and again and again. And so I hope, as you hear it, it ministers to you as well. And with that, I think I'm going to wrap this one up. But hopefully I'll be able to post a few more in the coming weeks as summer is starting soon. So, all right. Thanks for listening to the commentary on Will You Say It Again, and I will post the actual song below in the comments.